Hi, so today is a collab with Mama on a Mission, who created this, and it is a back to school and work COVID style question and answer collab. So I will be looking down at my notes because it's a question and answer. So I didn't actually write out my answers. I'll just kind of answer it as I go through it. So we have 10 questions. And make sure you check the description box below because, like I said, this is a collab. So I will have Mama on a Mission's channel in the links below, as well as the playlist. So you can check out everybody else's answers if you're still trying to, figure out how to get back to work or school or what you're doing. So number one, let's get started, is describe your current work or school situation. So, I do not work. I am a stay-at-home mom. I have been for probably 7 years or so. So, I don't have to worry about that. But my husband does work full-time. He is a software engineer and he is working full-time from home. So we actually created a whole homeschooling room for my youngest, who I am going to homeschool for kindergarten. I'll get into that in a minute. But so that was always our plan, to homeschool him. So we built a double desk for he and then we had a desk in there for Grayson. So as soon as all this hit, my husband's been in there, and my husband is a team lead, so he has meetings and things like that. So we haven't even been in that room. And with the way that our school district is going, so the district that we live in, we had a choice. You could do full online. So it's just an at-home school for at least a semester. So I chose that option for my middle son, who is 10, Gabriel. He is in 5th grade, will be 5th grade. So the reason I chose that for him is he is also on the spectrum. So trying to get him back and forth, not knowing, what's going to happen day to day, would not be good for him. And he does better on the computer, just getting his stuff done so he can, he doesn't like all that wasted time at school anyways, so that was a good option for him. He also started having seizures starting Christmas Eve morning, and his are due to lack of sleep and sickness, any kind of sickness. So he is on medication now after he had a double seizure in March. So that was just another thing that I didn't even want to send him. Being 10, he would have to be in a mask, but most of the school wouldn't. So that wasn't an option for us, for him. So I just knew that's what we're doing. Now, my oldest daughter is 15, and she is a sophomore. She is a cheerleader. All her friends are going to in-person school. So she absolutely hates the idea of anything homeschooling or being at home, any of that. She's very social. So in person, we just found out last week is going, there could be A, B, and C is in person, just depending on how the community is and the school. So as of last week, we were told that they will at least start out option C, which is completely virtual. So she's not happy about that, but it is what it is. So that is our situation. So I kind of have one of everything. I'm homeschooling my kindergartner, which again, that was always our plan. For him, I am doing master books as our curriculum, the Simply K program. So I will be doing homeschool, virtual at-home school, and whatever in person is going to look like for my high schooler. Starting out virtual, so luckily that'll be, a little bit easier. But if she goes back to school, like they were saying for my arm's getting tired, for option B, blended, that would be, they would start out at school on Mondays at home, and then depending on where their alphabet falls, A through K, and then L through Z would be, so like she would be in the Tuesdays and Thursdays, so she would only go 2 days a week. So probably for a while that will be their next second option, but again, we'll see. Everything's starting virtual. Question 2, what will be your biggest change going into fall? So going into fall, the biggest change, which it's already been the biggest change, is my daughter. Like I said, she's very active and she does, all your typical public school things. So right now it's really crazy with cheerleading, and 1 week they can have practice, 1 week they can't. One day they can have workouts, the next they can't. One day they can have 10 people, the next they can have 20. They're always on the track, they're always in a mask, unless they can like be separated or they're running, things like that. So that's just been chaotic. So that's what's going to be our biggest change. Last year as a freshman, she was actually a majorette, so baton twirler. And so we were very active. We were at every football game, and she was at competitions, and, all those things that go along with all that stuff. And that none of this stuff's going to be happening as of now. So no spectators, anything like that. But yet you still have to get your kid there. So I don't know. So that'll be our biggest change, is just not being busy, which I love. I'm a homebody. I don't like to be going and doing these things, but my daughter is very much like her dad, and they're very social. So that's going to be a big change for them. Not so much for me. I'm liking it. But question 3, how comfortable are you with the changes that you'll be adapting to? So that kind of led into that. I'm very comfortable with it. Like I said, I absolutely love it. I love doing my Sunday school and my church at home. I'm just that kind of a person. So is my husband. So that's been really good for us. But all our kids are really social. So like my kindergartner, that was really hard for him to not go to his preschool, which is not really preschool, it's his Sunday school, but he doesn't know that. He thinks it is. So for him not getting to do that, he didn't get to play t-ball, which was supposed to be his first time playing. So coming up should be soccer and then basketball. So both boys play basketball at our church. My youngest plays soccer with his basketball, and it doesn't look like any of that stuff's going to happen. So that, they're adapting to that, but they're very computer oriented, hands-on type people. So they like, having their screens. Let's see. Number 4, what has helped ground you and get you through this craziness? So for me, this is actually something that I, like I said, really enjoy, of just being home. It's really helped my stress. The running around with 3 kids back and forth all the time, 2 activities. As much as I love seeing my daughter perform and love seeing my boys, do sports and things like that, I don't like being out and about. I love to just be home. So it's been really good for me. Let's see. Oh, and we moved into this house a year ago. So this was the first time that we actually started getting anything put together, painted, making it finally our home. So it's been really great to get projects done, and I am absolutely loving my house and just how everything's looking. The only thing I don't like is I can't have, sorry, I dropped my paper. I can't have chickens here. And I used to have chickens in the county that I was in. So that's really a bummer. But, it is what it is. And then number 5, if you have kids at home, how have you addressed these topics with your kids? So we talked to the kids. I keep dropping the paper. It's windy. I keep talking to them and getting their opinions. I did not really get the opinion of my kindergartner, because since he was little, that's just something I've always talked to him about, is doing homeschool. So that really wasn't an option for him. But my older 2 kids are from a previous marriage, and their dad absolutely does not support that, doesn't agree with it, which is fine. But the more and more that I am home, I like to do homesteading. So I'm really learning that kind of stuff, which with the way the world is going, I'm getting back into the more simple life, not so worldly, just doing everything I can to try to do things at home, prep, things like that. So, the kids at least have a choice. Did they want to do virtual fully? Did they want to homeschool fully? Or do they want to take whatever in-person option they're given for that day, that week, that month, whatever? So, and each child has a different option, like I said. So, which is fine. Every kid is different, and all 3 of my children are very different. So they need those options for them. So on to the fun 5 questions. What kind of student were you? I enjoyed school, but I was never good at it. I struggled with comprehension. I hated reading, but I loved English, loved like poems and things like that. I loved taking notes just because I could make things all pretty, and I'm a very pen and paper type person, so I loved that kind of stuff. But like my daughter, I was very social then, not social anymore, but I was in band and winter guard and all the things that went along with that kind of stuff. Very active in my youth group and church and stuff, church camps. And so I enjoyed the social aspect of school. And then 2, what were your favorite and least favorite subjects? So like I just said, my favorite was English, but not reading. So, the language arts, I guess, part of it. And then what was my least favorite? My least favorite was math, always math, still to this day is math. And that was a big thing as to part of why I didn't know about homeschooling and how I was going to handle that, because sure, I can handle, adding, subtracting, those type things. But when it gets into like multiplication and anything above that, that's where I struggled, still struggle. So, and I don't use math much, besides just homemaking and things like that. So, I was a little worried about that, but I have done tons of research, and everything I'm leading up towards will be, math, like on the computer. So I think it'll be great. 3, which grade was your favorite? I liked all my grades. Every grade had different things, I enjoyed my time at school. I enjoyed my time away from my mom. So that was always nice, and took me away from my brother. My brother and I are 10 months apart, so he was into like everything I was into. So it was always nice to get a break from him. But I would probably have to say 8th grade was actually my favorite. Junior high, not middle school, junior high, 7th and 8th grade were my absolute favorite years. I adored my principals, but I always had really good teachers in most grades, most subjects. So I was really blessed with that. But 8th grade was my better group of friends. I had a really good boyfriend. Just was what it, that was my favorite. My least favorite was sophomore year. I had a really, really hard sophomore year. Just, it really struggled with me. I don't know why. 3, I just said that. 4, do you still keep in touch with your friends from school? Because of Facebook, yes, I keep in touch with a lot, and people are always coming to me, hey, did you see this? Or hey, so I always know what's going on with that kind of stuff. I go to events that, school people put on a lot. Because my kids are back into the district where I grew up, going to the same schools I went to, I still see people in the district. So that's really great. Like I talked about, I had a really great boyfriend in 8th grade up through freshman year. Well, from 6th grade to freshman year. So he is still one of my best friends today. My youngest son, his middle name is named after him. And so he's just always been a really close friend of mine. I have some dear, dear friends that were in marching band with me. And I am still very close with them. They still come in town and see me, every 6 months or whatever. All the other friends, it's really hard when you have kids and different lives and things like that. So, Facebook is mostly how I see those type people. And then 5, last question. When you were in school, what did you want to be when you grew up? So kind of different, actually. So through elementary school, I always kind of wanted to be like a hairdresser. I love doing hair. I still enjoy doing hair for like my daughter and stuff, for dance and all that kind of stuff. Not so much myself, as you can see. I'm very plain Jane, but I didn't used to be. I was very girly, very into makeup and hair and all that. Again, like I said, I enjoy the simple lives now, and hope my daughter, you know, turns out of that worldly way down the road too. But so through, let's see, middle school, I don't really know what I really wanted to do in middle school. I don't think I really kind of knew what I wanted. And then high school changed pretty much each year. I was really gung-ho into band at first. Then towards the end, I didn't want to practice. I didn't want to have to do any of those things. So I actually wanted to be a doctor of music. We had an amazing doctor of music, which most districts do not have today, but I was blessed to have one, and she actually was my flute teacher, so I absolutely loved her. And she had a beautiful house, and she was just very put together. I loved her, and I thought, well, that's what I want to do, you know. So then I got into, as my older years got into high school, and I didn't want to really do band much anymore. There's so much practice, so many competitions, things like that. Then I really was just gung-ho about doing the military, and I was going to do the Air Force because my grandpa was a fighter pilot in World War II. He was a lieutenant colonel, things like that. So that always interested me. I wanted to do Air Force. And like I said with math, I couldn't pass the ASVAB. So I actually had a tutor outside of Air Force and still never passed. So I was going to go into the Marines, and I was also going to go into the Navy, and none of that happened. I actually dated my Navy recruiter, who tried really hard to get me a Navy tutor through them, everything. I couldn't do it. And my best friend, like I was saying, who was my boyfriend when we were younger, he went into the Marines, and I was even signed up with him to do the buddy program. So where he went for at least all of boot camp in that first year, we would have been together. But I couldn't pass the ASVAB, and I also had a Marine tutor. So that quickly changed, but all of through wanting to do the military, I wanted to be a firefighter in the military. Then when I got out of high school and realized can't pass the ASVAB, I'm not going in, obviously. I had been engaged pretty young to someone, and I just really liked doing firefighting type stuff, so I went to EMT school twice, actually. And both times I got scared of having to take the written test and never did it, but passed all my practicals. So I enjoyed riding in the ambulance. I hated having to do the clinicals in the ER. That would definitely not have been something for me. I also realized I didn't want to do the medical side, but I absolutely loved having that knowledge of just, you know, if I had kids or something, just being able to help somebody. But I would have been the one who would have ran into a building and ran out, you know, that kind of stuff. I would have been okay with that, but I didn't want to do the medical side. So then I got married, had kids, you know, and quickly changed my mind as to what I wanted to do. And then I just really wanted to be a mom, have kids, stay home. I always kind of, in the back of my mind, that was always something I knew I wanted, was to have a family really young. And so that was basically it. So that is our crazy COVID style, how it's happening for this week. Again, it can change next week and so on. We don't know, but as of now, this is what's going on for us. And we live here in St. Louis, Missouri, if that helps, so you kind of know like what's going on. We are in a red hot spot, whatever you call it, right now. So it is what it is, but I'm just trying to embrace having the kids home and just living a more simple life. So I hope this helps. On my YouTube channel, I will be posting when I get like our virtual place set up and our homeschool area set up, things like that. But right now, I'm just not looking forward to any of it. So not doing any of it right now. But again, I hope everything goes well for all of you guys, and let me know in the comments if your stories are similar to what we're doing here. Bye.